Yeah, I'd have to say this is probably one of my favorite student style inexpensive notebooks. Hey everyone, John here with Fountain Pen Love, and today I'm going to do another quick notebook review. Today it's going to be the Tsubame Fools Notebook, so let's check this one out. Alright, getting started, here's some details. This great little Japanese notebook comes in a few different sizes. It comes in A5, B5, and B6. It comes in lined, grid, and blank. The lined is 7mm, the grid is 5mm, so there's lots of options in there. The only thing you don't get is a dot grid option with this notebook. Now, as you can probably tell, this is a pretty bare bones notebook. There's not much to it, but it does have a few features you might be interested in. It has a soft cover. Inside, at least on the lined version, it has a margin at the top and the bottom of each page. It does have a stitched binding as well, and it comes in a variety of different sizes, anywhere from this very slim 30 page notebook all the way up to 100-page notebooks, and those are going to be significantly thicker. One other fantastic feature is its very low price. We'll get to that a little bit later. So let's go ahead and jump inside to the paper. The paper is 81.4 GSM, so it's pretty much average as far as weight goes. That's the same thing as like a Rhodia, Clairefontaine, any of those papers you've probably used before. Similar weight and feel as far as the thickness goes. It's an off-white. It's not cream, but it's not a bright white color either. Now, as far as the paper itself, the lines are like a light gray, so they really have a low contrast compared to the paper. It's not really dark, intense lines, but they're still there enough to help you out. Writing on this paper is a fairly smooth experience. It has a tiny bit of feedback still, but it's not nearly as much as something like a Midori, which is still a smooth paper, but it definitely offers more feedback when you write on it. It's not nearly as smooth as some other Japanese papers though, so if you do love a super smooth paper, you might not love this one quite as much as some others that you've tried. Now, one question you should always ask is, how does this paper handle fountain pen ink? It does really, really well. It has high sheen and high shading, so it's really going to show off the inks that you use in it. It has medium dry times, which is pretty good for a high sheen paper. It also has medium ghosting, so you should be able to write on both sides of a page without having any kind of issues there. It also has very low bleeding and feathering. I don't think I've seen it bleed through or feather with any normal writing at least. So if that's a concern for you, you don't have to worry about it with the Tsubame paper. Now, I said we'd come back and talk about the price, so let's go ahead and dive in and see what it's all about. As far as price goes, the Tsubame Fools Notebook is priced, depending on where you get it from and the size of notebook you get, at about 10 cents per page. That's really the same price as the Campus notebooks and the Apika notebooks. All three of these are basically the same price per page. So if you've been using either of these and want to try something different that's similar or maybe even better, give the Tsubame a try. Now, one thing to note about these notebooks is they don't open and lay flat as easily as some other notebooks might. They have very large signatures, which means there's a lot of paper that has to bend to lay flat. It is a stitch binding, which is really nice. It's gonna help with durability. But if I am just to open up this brand new notebook, you can see it's not gonna just open and lay flat. If I do open it, give it a little encouragement, it still doesn't quite lay flat. So it definitely takes a little bit of work. You're gonna have to work on these brand new notebooks in order to get them to lay flat for you, or just hold one side down while you write. Now, you might be wondering why this is called Tsubame Fools paper. It's not because you're a fool for buying it or not buying it. It's because originally this notebook or this paper was based on a British paper size called Fool's Cap. So Tsubame shortened it to Fools, and here we go. We've got the Tsubame Fools notebook. Now, here's a fun little side note. I had never heard of British imperial sizing before, so when I looked into it, I realized it has some really fun paper size names. A few of my favorites are Princess, Grand Eagle, and Elephant. Tsubame notebooks have been around in Japan since 1947, so they are definitely a household and student staple over there. Now, in the United States, they're a little bit newer. They haven't been here for that long, so if you haven't heard of them, don't feel bad. Now, one thing you will want to know is that nowhere on here, at least in English, on the notebook, does it say Tsubame. So if you have seen one of these and haven't realized what it is, it's not your fault. If you want to find one of these but don't speak or read Japanese, look on the front. There's going to be a golden logo and it's going to have a bird, or on the back, it's going to have some information at the bottom of the cover, and it's also going to have that same logo. That's how you know it's a Tsubame. And that's about it. This is a really simple little notebook, but it has fantastic paper and is pretty darn inexpensive. So I encourage you, try one out if you've never tried one before. If you have, let me know what you think of it in the comments. Now, one other thing I'm going to leave in the description of this video is an interesting article I read about Tsubame. So if you want to know more about the company and its history, go down and check that out. Thanks for watching.